discussing this breaking news because it's occurred to me that there are some people out there who believe that to be a conservative, what it means is that we become tribal and we defend other conservatives even when they do things that are wrong, that we don't discuss things that are horrible on our own side because we need to just make sure that we score wins in other ways, and that is wrong. That to me is the exact opposite of why I have this platform. I am not tribal. I want to expose things when they are bad on the left, and I will also expose things when they are bad on the right. Obviously, I have been interested in the Steven Crowder saga pertaining to his divorce because he literally inserted me into his divorce a couple of days ago. And his wife and family are now speaking out regarding that video in which he told people publicly that his wife was leaving him.
So good. Pinelli, thank you for the 4 months of Prime. Thank you.
Remember this, he chose wrong. And he essentially made it sound as if he did not want his marriage to end, but his wife simply wanted to leave.
I like how his definition of he chose, like, for people who missed it, in his video where he announced his divorce, Steven Crowder said that the major problem in his divorce was that he chose the wrong woman. And I like now that we all have the video footage.
If it could chef cook, if it could chef cook.
Lemon Pepper, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. Thank you. His idea of the right wife was literally just like a servant. He chose a woman that is too much of her own person. If Crowder took the Daily Wire offer, Candace wouldn't be talking about this. Yeah, of course, 1,000,000%. But because she is talking about it, I'm going to enjoy watching the conservatives fight each other.
Well, she has responded by giving video, and I want to prep you. I want you to know this is horrific video. It is very difficult to watch. It's especially difficult to watch because in this footage, she is 8 months pregnant. And the video essentially reveals just how emotionally abusive he has been. And she is alleging that he has been emotionally abusive to her. And this video all but confirms it. So let's first get to the footage. I'm just going to allow you to watch it in its entirety.
I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary at abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes, other than man, respect. Other than man, receive love and respect. No. Other than man, no, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you're not taking the car.
Steven.
You are not.
Then I will ask someone to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not a threat, Steven.
Give it an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
See,
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven.
The only way out of this,
as if he couldn't Uber himself.
Discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good.
He's literally a child. He is a abusive man-child, piece of shit, human garbage.
Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Steven.
There you go. You throw your hand. You give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
Hillary,
Steven?
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone that's unique, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore.
For anyone bringing it up who missed the conversation earlier, and everyone who's saying like he's a millionaire but he only has one car, it's a form of abuse. It's a form of control. He has the money to get 2 cars. Most households that I know that are not millionaires have 2 cars because you need, like in a lot of states, unfortunately, there's no public transport. You need a car. He is choosing to only have 1 car. It is a form of control so that she is dependent on him, so that she has to ask permission for the car. Because if she has her own car, she'll just go wherever she wants.
I'm gonna go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not gonna.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take Betty.
So that is both heartbreaking and infuriating for me to watch. I cannot even comprehend how any man can speak to a woman like that, least of all when she is 8 months pregnant. And sadly, that isn't the worst part of that correspondence. The journalist that dropped this video is Yashar Ali. He dropped this as well as a Substack entry accompanying it. On the Substack article, he wrote, "Moments later, off camera, Steven Crowder, by his own admission, would lose control and scream at his pregnant wife in a threatening tone, quote, 'I will f you up,' end quote, which led his wife to flee their home." She then sent a statement, which I want to be very clear, this statement I knew was going to come out. I didn't know any of this information.
And yeah, she's barely able to contain her excitement. It's crazy. You can see it on her face. Yeah, Candace is having a fucking field day. This is the best thing that's happened to Candace Owens since like the Daily Wire first picked her up, probably.
I had no idea there was a video or there was any evidence. I did know that their family was thinking about issuing a statement, and Hillary Crowder did issue a statement. And I'm going to read you that statement in its entirety because it's important. I think it reveals a lot of the lies that Steven has been telling publicly to his audiences. It reads, "Hillary is currently living alone in Dallas, apart from her family and support system in Michigan, and is focused on taking care of her young children. She is not prepared at this time to speak about her divorce becoming public or the misleading statements made by Steven about their relationship. The truth is that Hillary spent years hiding Steven's mentally and emotionally abusive behavior from her friends and family while she attempted to save their marriage. She was the one who was asking to work on their relationship to keep the marriage intact for their unborn child. In June of 2021, Steven left their home to pursue elective surgery." That's very important. I want you to remember that. I'm going to come back to that point. "Hillary urged him to get the help he needed to address his abuse with the hope that their marriage could be saved and they could peacefully live together as a family. Instead, Steven refused to do so and chose not to be with his wife during the birth of their twin children. After the birth, Steven bought a townhouse and left their home permanently. Hillary was not aware that Steven hired a divorce attorney and asked his assistant to cut Hillary off financially. There is significant documentation
3 month streak.
substantiating these
Crowder
facts."
raising his voice
I want
gives
you
me
to remember
the
that
eye.
portion as
Happy
well. That's
anniversary,
another lie that
Denbo.
Steven
Thanks
has
for the
told
stream
publicly.
and all you do.
We hope that Steven will cease from
To the person who said rib removal in reference to elective surgery, he needs it, to be fair. If you're this divorced and this footage gets leaked of you, oh, dude, what I would give to see how Steven Crowder and his team are currently fucking panicking in a room to try and figure out how to spin this. What I would kill to see this. Oh my God. 3 months for Crowder raising his voice gives me the ick. Yeah. Hi, Deb. Thank you for the 4 months. Thank you.
Speaking publicly about these personal matters in an untruthful manner. We also look forward to there being full transparency in the legal process so there is fairness and accountability for the actions that caused the divorce and to ensure the outcome.
No, he hasn't talked about this like at all, basically.
Is what is in the best interests of the young children. I would first like to go back to that portion where she says Stephen left their home to pursue elective surgery, because I know exactly what surgery she's referring to, because during my first backstage here at Daily Wire, we actually prayed for Stephen and this surgery. So before I show you a clip from us on backstage, here is Stephen describing that surgery, and it certainly doesn't sound like it's elective. Take a listen.
I explained to you a little bit what it is. You know, a lot of people say, why are you smoking? My heart is actually great, but my heart doesn't work great. And the reason my heart doesn't work great is, long story short, because of a connective tissue disorder I have, and my chest is caving in on my heart. So I've got about, I'm at a little more than half of the blood flow that you guys have, ventricular output from my heart. So it's a mechanical fix. And I don't know, maybe I'll feel like Lance Armstrong, you know, like I'm on EPO after this, because I don't know what it's like to go through life with full blood flow. To me, I'm looking forward to it, not looking forward to the pain. Lance Armstrong, by the way, with the 3 balls, not the one. So yeah, it's overall a positive thing, and honestly, I've probably needed a little bit of rest. It comes in the form of having my chest cracked open.
Obviously, he had the surgery, and then his lung collapsed, and here is us praying for him, praying that he actually gets better.
That's all I'm going to say.
Before we leave, I just have to, this one off the subject for a minute. Our pal, Steve Crowder, who makes the best ashtrays in the country, is in the hospital fighting for his life, and he's really come close. He's come close to the dark edge of things. And I just want to say that crazy as he is, we love him, and we're thinking about him. That you know, we hope he makes it back.
You're literally nightmare blunt rotation. This is it. I don't actually think it can get worse than this. This is totally not a meeting of the Legion of Doom.
Better man than I am.
Well, that's true.
I was actually just looking forward to the show being over so that I could text him and say, you know, hope you don't make it, pal.
You know, actually, this is a real story. Last night, I had to go for a drive because a long story, but I had to burn down gas to take my car into the shop. And so I was going to smoke a cigar, and, you know, I was going to say my nightly prayers. I thought, oh, you know, I should probably pray for Crowder, you know, because he's in this. And I thought, oh, well, you know what's great? I'm going to light up one of the cigars that Crowder sent me.
Yeah.
And Crowder, this guy who's a complete maniac, he sent me these beautiful cigars. And I was like, oh, pal, I'm going to send you some cigars right away from my humidor. Haven't sent him a single thing, you know, but that guy, he, you know, really a generous fellow. And doesn't get enough credit.
I actually did text him.
You know what the weirdest thing about this room is? I think scientists are still trying to like explain and understand why this happens to some people. But the weirdest thing for me is everyone in that room, they have a very specific face that is just so punchable. Scientists are still trying to understand what exactly makes one face punchable over the other face, but I can tell you with 100% certainty that every single person in that room has just, their face is just made for a fist, you know? It's kind of like, you know, if you're British, I'll translate, it's like toast and beans. You know, it just works. Okay? It just looks, you know, lock and key. It's just, Oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah, I'm here for you. Don't worry, guys.
Him and say that we were praying for him at great risk to our souls.
And if he dies, I personally will kill him. Right?
And yet, according to his wife, this was an elective surgery, really a cosmetic surgery, because Stephen didn't like the way that his chest looked because he had a sunken chest. It was not something that was actually required to save his.
Oh. You mean like gender affirming care? Like, oh, like that's what you know, like gender affirming the thing you're turning.
His life. And yet we see that same pattern of behavior. Stephen garnering a ton of affection and prayers from his followers purporting to be the victim, when in fact the facts don't line up with his narrative. The second portion that I'd like to point to is where it says Hillary was not aware that Stephen hired a divorce attorney. This stands in stark contrast to what he told his followers when he said how hard divorce was and how difficult and horrific it had been and how he really didn't want it, and just, Texas is a no-fault divorce state. What is the truth here? I don't know. Obviously, right now we have his wife's word versus Stephen's word, but given my personal experience with Stephen, I am very much inclined to believe his wife. Now, I'd like to get in some other portions of this article, which I think are really important. The writer has a bunch of audio files and text messages that were sent to him that he was able to review. He writes, "In audio files and text messages that I reviewed, Stephen Crowder admitted."
Sorry, for anyone who's asking what no fault state means, it just means that in the state of Texas, you don't need a reason to get divorced. You can just get divorced because you want to. There are other states that are not this way, and there has to be a reason, like partner is abusive, or partner threatened, or, infidelity, or something like that. No fault state means for any reason you can get a divorce. Not wanting to be married to that person anymore is a good enough reason. You don't have to prove that someone else did something to destroy the marriage, basically.
Admits to some of his faults, which include a volcanic temper, repeatedly and at times regretfully. But according to sources that I spoke to who are familiar with their relationship, Crowder's admissions often came after a sustained period of mental and emotional abuse, and he didn't seem to be able to control his impulses. That, again, is something that I have seen personally. Very bizarre, but he would insert me into a divorce announcement and purport that I somehow extorted him. It's very bizarre in the way that he attacked the Daily Wire, and there just seem to be a lot of signs that he is not able to control his emotions. And so the question that I will ask is, how many people are going to allege abuse from Stephen Crowder before we listen, before we stop saying he's one of us because he says things that he agrees with? We purport that we are the party of family values. How can you look at that video and defend him in any way? How can you look at that video and not roundly condemn this and say this is not something that actually represents the things that we believe? The writer goes on to say, like so many things in his life in recent years, Crowder's temper and paranoia led him to destroy his relationships with Sir Shapiro, Boring, and others at the Daily Wire when he posted a video on his channel suggesting that the Daily Wire, without naming the company, was attempting to align itself with big tech by mentioning in their initial offer to him that if he was demonetized on social media platforms, that it would reduce his overall compensation. Well, again, going back to the pattern, it's not just the Daily Wire. It's David Landau. It's Sven the Computer. It's Jared Monroe, formerly known as Not Gay Jared, people that are locked into NDAs and are not allowed to
I can do
speak
all your
about the
homework. Check out my website. Smiley face.
Oh my God.
abuse that they endured by Stephen Crowder. It's Owen Benjamin. It's now his wife. Do you believe that all of these various different parties, the majority of them who have never spoken to each other, I have never spoken Sven the computer. I've never spoken to David Landau. I've never spoken to Hillary Crowder. I've never spoken to Owen Benjamin. Do you believe that all of these people, as is the paranoid narrative that Steven Crowder is presenting, are working maybe in collusion with big tech to try to destroy him? Or do you believe it's plausible that Steven Crowder is just a monster? I personally believe that he is a monster. And that is, by the way, Steven, if you're watching, I'm not trying to extort you. I am just simply telling the truth. There was a lot of things.
God, she didn't even say my opinion. She said, I'm just telling the truth. Oh my God. Also, I didn't say the title of the video, but it's even better. It says, Steven Crowder is a monster. Change my mind. Who let her cook? Who let her cook?
That are going on. And I am glad that his wife found the strength to speak out. And I'm calling upon everybody to roundly condemn this, to reject this firmly, not to somehow come up with an excuse and say, oh, well, it's a divorce, so we shouldn't talk about it. We should mind our own business. No, the way that we represent ourselves.
And by the way, there have been conservatives that have been going on publicly and being like, oh, well, you know, like me personally, I just don't think it's any of our business. And I still like Steven Crowder, and I'm just not going to talk about the video because I don't want to talk about it.
Privately and publicly should be the same. If you purport to care about family values, again, then you should care about this situation and you should condemn it. Yashar Ali also added in this article, in reviewing documentary evidence related to their marriage, Steven Crowder appears to be obsessed with the idea that his wife is only interested in him for money. Hillary Crowder started dating him well before he became famous and wealthy. He was making.
That is so pathetic and sad. That's so pathetic and sad. So, chat, you know what I tell you guys when I try to tell you guys that you should not listen to incel, black pill, red pill content because it makes you brain rotted? This is what I mean. It convinces you that women are these unfeeling monsters that know how to make their priorities money and money. And unfortunately, first of all, that is not true. Probably 95% of women are not like that. Maybe a couple sociopaths and psychopaths, yeah, sure. But most women are not like that. And guess what? When you live your life like that, basically assuming that all women only like you for your money, you only attract women that do think that. The most embarrassing thing about this is, imagine getting married to someone way before you get your wealth, and then you're so red pill, conservative, brain rotted that you start to think this about your wife who married you when you had nothing. My girlfriend wants to be my sugar mama. I love it. I didn't know about that before I met her. It's just so weird, dude.
Making less than
Shut the fuck up, Evie.
$100,000 a year when they got married. Again, the Crowder narrative never seems to line up with the reality. And on that note, for those of you that are asking for an update, yes, I did send a cease and desist to him regarding his comments that I somehow extorted him. I sent the cease and desist. I heard back from his lawyer, and essentially what I get from this is that his lawyer is saying that this was just his opinion and it was just Steven Crowder's feelings, and even though it wasn't reality, too bad, so sad. Here's exactly what that legal letter back to me said. I'm going to read you a couple of quotations. It says, the simple fact is that Ms. Owens, as shown in the clip, made thinly veiled threats directed at Mr. Crowder that she would release the alleged dirt she had on him if he kept making statements about the Daily Wire. Mr. Crowder's opinions fall short of any defamation. At most, he has merely opined comparatively the feeling of certain misconduct to his own present state of being. then the subsequent use of the word threats is not in and of itself an accusation of crime, even within the larger context in which it was used. The most reasonable implication is not an accusation of crime, but that threats have occurred that fall short of being a crime. Again, at most, they are simply reminiscent in
Girls are fighting.
Mr. Crowder's personal opinion of the specifically referenced type of misconduct. In short, these are his feelings, they are not facts, and his opinions are protected. And to make it clear for those of you that thought there was something going on in the background or that someone had secretly threatened him, his lawyer is alleging that's not the case. He was simply referring to the exact clip that he showed you of me. Nothing else happened. He just wanted you guys to think that he was under duress in some other capacity. In short, as I have said, I believe Steven Crowder is an absolute monster, and I encourage all of the other people that he has victimized to find their strength to speak out now. By the way, his lawyer offered to me that we could both agree to a ceasefire if I agreed that I would never speak about Steven Crowder again. And to him, I would publicly like to say, your client doesn't have that kind of money to keep Candace Owens from speaking out about things that I find to be absolutely despicable.
She said, try me, dude. She said, try me. My bank account got lots of O's on it, bro, okay? I don't waste my money on some dumbass cigars so I can look cool. She ate. Okay, before some fucking nerd in chat is like, actually, I don't know if you know, but Candace always has a really problematic history of being a white nationalist. Yes, we all know, okay? And we still hate her. We do. However, I'm gonna enjoy the rightoid infighting. How often do you see leftists infighting? Fucking every day. How often do you see righties fighting? Fucking never. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna enjoy the hog infighting. We can still dislike her and watch them cook each other, okay? All right? The worst person you know had a good opinion. It'll be interesting to see how the Daily Wire bosses feel about this trauma. Oh, no. First of all, the Daily Wire doesn't like Steven Crowder because Steven Crowder...
What makes someone like Crowder? How insecure you got to be.
Yeah. The Daily Wire doesn't like Steven Crowder because Steven Crowder went on air and said they offered me a contract and it didn't have enough money in it. They only offered me $50 million and they're basically giving out slave contracts to new hires. And I'm going to stand up and talk about the little guys here. I'm going to stand up for the conservatives here. Okay, guys? I totally forgot about that. What a maniac. Yeah. So, like, he completely fucked himself. He then released the contract. He then released the audio footage that he recorded of him talking to Jeremy Boring. And he was upset that basically the Daily Wire said, listen, okay, bro, if we do sign you, you have to be a little bit less racist. Because, like, the skits that you do where you, like, dress up as I think someone who's supposed to be Chinese and then you just do the most racist bit on the planet. We just need you to just tone it down a little, okay? It's okay to be racist, pull up all the stats. We just need you to tone it down just a little bit, okay? Because if you get banned from YouTube, we're not going to pay you. You have to be making content for us actively. And that got him too angry. That got him really mad. He was like, but I want to play dress up. I want to be racist and I want to play dress up. You can't stop me. And so he publicly put them on blast, talking about their contract. And he called them big conservative. And someone needs to stick up and stand up against Big Con. So yeah, they fucking hate him. All right. They despise Steven Crowder. I'm pretty sure Candace Owens probably spoke to Jeremy Boring and a couple other people. And she was like, hey, can I make this video where I watch this ring footage? It'll get 500,000. It'll probably get 1 million views. Can I watch it?
Denims, I'm looking for a $50 million slave contract. Can you help?
Me too. Me too. Toxic, thank you for the 5 months. Thank you. They're never going to acknowledge their frankincense responsible for making these monsters? Yeah, of course not, right? Imagine being that bad that even the Daily Wire doesn't like you. Yeah. So, yeah, I presume Candace Owens spoke to them and said, hey, is it cool if I make this video where I shit on Steven Crowder? Is that cool? And Jeremy Boring was like, that motherfucker recorded me without my consent. Yeah, make the video. Go for it, Candace. Live your best life. I thought it was just beef for views up until a couple days ago. No, this is not beef for views. The right doesn't do that. The right has like a very strong like coalition that basically they stay in their own lane all the time unless they have a reason to do so otherwise. Candace, sick balls. The right is very good at it. You'll see even the way that like Trump talks about people. If Trump is talking about someone that he likes, he is super nice. He's like, he's a great man. I'll tell you, he's got the biggest, juiciest balls I've ever seen. If he's talking about someone, it'll be the same person, but now they're running against him and he's like, they call him Meatball Ron. They call him Ron the Sanctimonious. It's literally, if you're on their side and you aren't like, causing trouble. Great. As soon as you cause a little bit of trouble, do you remember Lying Ted? Do you remember Lying Ted? Ted Cruz was not able to fucking shake that off him until he started just full throat cocksucking, what's his name, Trump. Once he started, Trump stopped. He was like, okay, I'm dropping the Lying Ted. It's not happening anymore. Now Ted is a good man. The right is so good at staying united. It's just once you fall out of line, they're just going to insult you and treat you like shit until you get back in line, and then they'll be nice to you again. Trump called Ted's wife ugly, and Ted said, "You're right," and then Trump stopped. Yeah, you mean the Zodiac killer? Yeah, exactly. But anywho, little Rhonda, yeah. Lion Ted. You got to deep throat the leadership. It's true. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Wow, that was such great content. Shame there isn't more. But wait. There's more. Call me Billy Mays in this bitch. Because I be finding more. But some people are about to get sent to ad purgatory. So for the people that are about to get sent to ad purgatory, know that we are about to watch this video, but we will wait for you, okay? We have an ad purgatory wait time. Candace released this 2 hours ago. This just dropped. When I started my stream, it was released an hour ago. It literally just dropped.